Hey Wanderers, and welcome to the last episode of Outlaws Wanted. Where we left off, the crew had defeated chaos in its current form and had a moment of peace before the hard work of reconstruction took place. The galaxy has changed a great deal, and now Wanderers, let's see where the crew of the Honor has found themselves. We are going to begin on board the Honor. The ship is far more quiet now than it originally was. It is off in, deep space between Avis and the home planet of the Galactic Alliance, which it's just now occurring to me I've never bothered to name, I don't think. Hang on one second.
I think I made up a name and Cody's checking the map that I gave him for Christmas.
I don't believe that any of the names that Caitlin put on the map are the home world of the Galactic Alliance.
I think I did.
Well, you put 3 planets on there. Is it Mabos?
No, it's Terrastra, I think.
You're on your way to Terrastra.
Say that again, you're by the mic now.
You're on your way to Terrastra?
Terrastra.
Terrastra.
Terra and Astra.
You had to get one more name in, didn't you, Kayla?
Terrastra, yep.
Terrastra. Okay. Did I name that, Caitlin? Did I actually give you...
You for sure didn't, no.
Oh, you made up that name.
I did.
Okay, and you're dunking on me. You're still naming stuff. Ah! All right.
I mean, by still naming stuff, you mean she named stuff a while ago that we're finally using.
I told you, I made up names for a bunch of planets in there. Mabos was you.
I knew Mabos was me. The Honor is on its way to Terrastra. It only has 2 people on board right now, Lucy and Captain Malcolm Llewellyn, now the captain of a much smaller crew. You find yourselves in the, officers' quarters above the kitchen, behind the secret fridge. Lucy has just kind of permanently scooted the fridge over at this point because it's actually getting to be a little bit inconvenient for him to slide it back and forth. Used to be no problem at all, is basically as easy as a door. Now him missing his power armor, it's a little bit more difficult. So, only 2 of you, it's a little sad, are sitting around the hollow table, maybe playing the equivalent of chess.
Not Warhammer 40k like Sully does?
Definitely not Warhammer 40k. It's a little bit too close to home for Lucy. It's kind of sad now.
What? That was in other ones. I tried to get Camilla to play with me, and she's like, I don't get the point of this.
I forgot that.
Lucy just finished losing the match spectacularly and kind of leaned back and sighs. Captain Malcolm Llewellyn, I do appreciate you giving me a lift, as it were. I don't have a ship, even though my role as ambassador to the leader of the imposition would imply that I should have one, but they're in short supply, so I appreciate the lift to the Galactic Alliance. I need to start my work of forming connections between the Galactic Alliance and the imposition. We have a bad history. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I've gotten that sense, but it was absolutely no problem. Glad to have you along with me.
Yeah, I mean, the trip can be boring. Usually I spent it powered off in a cell, so this is far more interesting.
Man, the more I learn about your time in the imposition, the more terrifying it sounds.
I did draw the shortest straw, it is true. But I am curious what you are doing. I kind of figured you were done with the Alliance.
Yeah, I just had a couple loose ends to tie up. Need to go talk with the brass at the Alliance.
Yes, the newly elected president, Astrid Sabine. I'm sure she will be welcoming, I would hope.
I hope so. This could be an interesting conversation for sure.
I'm hoping that my lack of power armor will make me less frightening. People tend to stare less when I'm not mostly robot. Your silence does not make me feel better.
Not sure I really have an answer to that, Lucy. I guess what I will say is people are used to seeing the imposition in their power armor, and seeing one out of their power armor might be a shock.
I don't know how you would be able to tell. I think I behave normally. He says as he sits, entirely motionlessly, unblinking. His time as a robot has had changes.
I'm sure you'll be most welcome. I mean, you were invited after all.
Well, yes, but that does not always mean welcome. Sometimes an invite is merely a clever way to have an ambush, but I'm trying to think positively. And besides, I might see it coming, he says, and gestures to his one golden eye. This might be weird, too. Hopefully not too weird.
I mean, there's a lot of people around the galaxy that have the golden eye now.
We will find out, I am sure, but what are you hoping to get? Like, what's next? Does that make sense?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I thought I might kind of take a tour of the galaxy, see how everyone's doing, and then we'll go from there.
I can understand that. My job, the imposition is tricky. I want to believe we can get better. So that is my hope.
Well, let's hope it goes well.
I agree. The rest of the trip passes in kind of like companionable joviality. Lucy cooks a lot for you.
Lots of potatoes. So many potatoes.
He's getting better. You know, it's like every day he learns how to use whatever the equivalent of the internet is, and things get a little bit smoother.
It's, Cody, it's called the Spinternet.
It's not called the Spinternet. I don't have to, I never have, and I won't start now.
You let Caitlin name everything else in the game. Why can't I name something?
Do you want to know the real answer to that? Because it's not going to make you feel any better.
What is the real answer?
Oh, because your names are better. Zach names things and I go, no. You name things and I go, dang it, that's better.
Dang it, yes.
To be fair, Zach didn't name things. Sully did.
As you're landing down on Terra Astra, the homeworld of the Galactic Alliance, as it has been named by Cat Lion, the city in a way looks familiar. It looks shockingly like Avis, in that you can tell there's recently been a lot of conflict. You can see wrecks of ships that are being ripped apart for parts that clearly had been destroyed by chaos. You can see kind of like general unrest and turmoil. It's kind of chaotic still, but you can tell that there's like a return to attempting to kind of organize and structure things the way that they used to be. So for you, Malcolm, this kind of looks like something happened, and now Terra Astra, a planet that you would have maybe used to call home, is kind of returning to normal. The meeting lacks a lot of pomp and circumstance. The whatever formality and grandeur that would usually accompany this has gone out the window for practicality, and you're basically just ushered quickly into a pretty boring office, and you see a woman who's, you know, in her late 50s. She looks kind of like haggard in that way that comes from drinking a lot of coffee and never sleeping. When you walk in, she hardly even looks up until you're just kind of like standing there for a while. And then she glances up, sees you, and just goes, "Oh, yeah, come right in, sit down, just the person I needed to see. Go ahead and have a seat. I'm not one for titles at this point. You can just call me Astrid, or President Astrid, President Sabine. I don't even care anymore at this point. Hi, Malcolm. How are you?"
Well, it's nice to meet you, and thanks for seeing me on such short notice. Looks like you guys have been pretty busy around here.
Yeah, so, right. Having your whole faction and multiple planets taken over by an infectious alien that can infect ships and turn them into monsters. It has a way of unsettling things. Being one of the few people that didn't go along with that and then turning out to be right, also not pleasant. Not pleasant. It's been an awkward year for me. But hey, apparently I was the most popular awkward person. So, hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing better. Let's put it that way.
That's good. I'm shocked you're here, honestly. I'm glad you're here, but I'm surprised, I guess. I know what you can do for me, and we'll get to that, but what can I do for you?
Well, I thought I might be able to offer some advice in the Galactic Alliance moving forward.
Perfect. I love that, especially from you at the moment.
So, the Galactic Alliance has a history of following their rules and regulations to the letter. And while that's admirable, and there is some value in that, having a clear chain of command, having clear structure, it can cause problems. Sometimes going outside what is written as it's written can be very helpful. Hence, my leaving the Galactic Alliance and finding a place where I was able to do good.
Now, on that, kind of we agree. So let me start with the things that I can do for you, because, hey, valuable advice, and I'm anxious to hear more, because I think that we can have a strong working relationship into the future. So here's the deal. One, you're right. No arguing with it. You know, you ended up being the one that saved the galaxy, and the Galactic Alliance ended up being rather unhelpful in the midnight hour, and now we have some work to do. So first of all, things I can do for you. Technically, right now, you're a wanted criminal. We're just going to wipe that out, right? No more wanted. You're fine. I'm not going to arrest you. Just that free of charge, right?
I'm glad to hear it.
Criminal record expunged. We'll ignore any wrongdoing in the past. We can get past that. Now, here's the next thing. I love this idea of you wanting to have a more active role in the Galactic Alliance, which is why I think you should come back and work for us. Because right now, our public image, not great. Your public image, really good. I think we can make this work together. We have a lot of ships without captains, because a lot of those captains ended up being chaos-tainted monsters. So, I'm seeing an opportunity for you. You can stay here, have all the input you want on how we shouldn't follow our own rules, and how we need to, whatever, you know. All ears on our part. All you have to do is just, you know, be visible and wearing a uniform and not have been a monster. That's really all I need from you. And you won't be wanted anymore, which you're already not, but you know.
Well, Madam President, that is a very generous offer, but unfortunately I think I'm going to have to decline at the moment. I have...
Do you have a better offer somewhere else? I'm offering you whatever ship. Look out the window. You see all the ships? Pick one. It's yours.
Well, it's not about...
I'm asking you to wear a shirt and sit on a ship. Literally, you can do whatever you want as long as you come close to following orders and don't turn out to be evil.
I've been out of the Galactic Alliance for a while. I'm past that point in my life. I recognize that the Alliance is rebuilding and that you need help. You need all the help you can get right now, but unfortunately, I don't think that's me.
She kind of like looks down and looks back up and goes, you know, it's not that I need help. I need a mascot. But I guess if you're too busy to be a public figure, fine. But I want you to understand something. It's not like someone's going to offer you be captain of the biggest ship ever again. So think hard. Are you sure that you're going to find meaning in your life not captaining that big ship, which I know is what you wanted to do? Not going to have another chance. It's a really big ship, and I'm sure the one you flew in here on was super tiny.
You're right. At one point in my life, that was my goal, was be the captain of the biggest ship I could be captain of. But that's not what I want anymore. I think I've moved on.
Well, fine. You can go then. I guess now you are a waste of my time. And I want you to understand something. 90% of the reason at this point I'm not arresting you for being a wanted criminal, 10% of it is because I told you I wouldn't. The other 90% is because it would look bad. So, flee before that becomes untrue and you become enough of an inconvenience that I would rather hold you accountable for betraying your faction forever ago. Off you go, and she kind of like shoos you out the door. And send in the creepy guy that never blinks. I've heard a lot about him. Maybe he can be more helpful to me.
Well, it was nice meeting you too. Good luck in your work. And he leaves.
She at this point is just like looking down and flapping her hand dismissively. Switching back to Avis. Avis has, similar to Terra Astra, had some pretty unsettling stuff happen to it as a civilization, or as a, worldwide city for the most part. Crashed ships litter the streets and all over the place. Unfortunately, these were warships, so dismantling them has become rather challenging, especially because frequently they were warships for factions that people on Avis don't know a lot about. So specifically in this case, we find Jyla sitting on the outside of a massive imposition ship. Basically, she's sitting on something that looks like a skyscraper that smashed itself into the ground, like right over her head, and like as big around as a car. There are cannons basically just pointing at her as this ship is just kind of like stuck sideways into the planet. There are like giant, not spaceships, they're flying vessels, right, that are there like pulling pieces off and slowly from the top like disassembling it and also building structures underneath to support it so it doesn't topple over as they're slowly unpiecing this ship into parts and trying to get rid of it. Jyla, as you sit at the foot of this kind of almost, it's hard to look at, it's so big vessel, you see a rusted and ragged looking ship kind of like pop and sputter to the ground like a few yards off from you, and out hops a familiar woman, Marilla, the prime scoundrel of the Smoke and Bones. She walks over to you waving a large power armored arm. Jyla, how are you? It has been too long, I think, since you've called me.
I agree, Marilla. It's good to see you. Come to help get some bombs out of here?
Yes, I heard that there was salvage, and, well, Alistair, he is particular about violence, but does like profit. So I have to find other means of procuring material other than stealing by force. It has been a large adjustment, but we listen to each other on occasion. And he does sometimes make a good point. We get shot at less now, so I'm here to assist.
Always good. I could use an in-position eye on some of these things. For one, these are spacing huge. I mean, I know Vi and I did run around a vessel like this on the inside, but this is something else.
Well, and when it's upside down and backwards, it makes it a little bit more dangerous. I'm sure you'll need your rappelling gear or jetpacks.
I do like my jetpack. That's the most fun part, maybe. Besides, since I'm not getting to explode stuff, a jetpack is a good replacement.
It's like a contained explosion on your back.
Jyla, I could take some of my payment in actual money if you would like to, pull a small bomb off of this and go somewhere in the middle of nowhere and explode it. They are quite fun.
Are you serious, Marilla?
Oh, I don't mind if some of the payload falls off the back of a truck, as it was, if we have some fun exploding it. It has been a while for me, too, since I have seen some fireworks.
All right, let's get this one out and take it for a spin.
As you start climbing your way into the ship, Marilla, like you kind of at times are using your jetpack to like hover up onto, platforms in this darkened ship as you're like trying to make your way up to armaments. Marilla, on the other hand, is just like using big metal claw arms to just like hulk her way up the ship as if it's as easy as walking. As you climb, she looks over at you and goes, I'm not generally one to talk about my feelings, but Alistair says we should. So, how are you handling no longer being an outlaw?
Well, Alistair sounds like silly. You sure they haven't been chatting behind our backs?
I would hope not. I find it annoying at times, but then endearing at others.
Makes sense. It's been all right. We've flown around a little bit, but it's different speed, not defying death every day and not shooting things out of the sky, not decapitating chaos monsters. Well, we did do some of that, but it's not like all the time.
It is less. I understand. I too have been sedentary.
Yeah, I'm getting a little restless sometimes, but it's fine. Like Sully's doing a good job here. We've got a nice place. Doing a lot of good work with getting Avis back in shape, which is good. It's a little different though.
I can understand this. I think I wonder, with me and Alistair, it is not that Alistair is right and I am always wrong. At times we need some excitement. We just have to find it in more productive ways. For example, I like to see how close I can fly to a sun. Now, that has meant that we have gotten far better at managing engine temperature and making better shields, and it also is dangerous and fun. My point is that I think that maybe some destruction is good every now and then, just as long as it does not end up like this. And she gestures at the entire ship.
Right, I'd rather see this baby in the sky for sure. You know, Marilla, I'm thinking back to when we met so long ago, and I'm wondering, what do you think about starting up a little hay fork pitching league?
This is a fantastic idea. It has been a while since I've even had the simulation of combat, and I could use knocking off the cobwebs, I think. Now, I will warn you, it is lethal sometimes, but it doesn't have to be that lethal.
We can have maybe different weights, you know? You can have like the unmodded category for people who just want to give it a go. You can have like partial ones like me with Ellie. I haven't dusted her off in a while. I'd love to give her a spin again. I'm getting excited thinking about it. And then maybe a top heavyweight, as it were, for people in full power armor like you.
I think this is a fantastic idea. I like this plan.
The Intergalactic Hay Fork Pitching League. IGHPL.
Hang on one moment. I need to send a message. Alistair will be late by a few weeks. Throwing pitchforks at friends. Send. Got it. I have a plan. I'm sure he'll be fine.
What'd he say?
He's not exactly fine with it.
Well, tell him he can join. You and Alistair should stay with Sully and I. We can get the league set up. We can recruit some people. Send out messages. We can have each planet compete against each other.
You and Sully can talk about being responsible. Send. I'm sure this is going to go over fantastic.
At a desk miles away, when Giles says they could stay with us, you just see Sully sit up straight and look around like something is very wrong.
It's gonna be like you're like away on travel and it's like the equivalent of Jyla adopting a bunch of dogs. Like you come back and Marilla and Alistair are like screaming in the kitchen and you're like, what?
Oh, this is perfect. This is great. The best day I've had in a while.
I agree. You see her face smiling way too excitedly as we cut to like a montage of you guys ripping a bomb off of this imposition ship and jumping down your jetpack carrying you, Marilla, sliding down the side of your ship and hurriedly like running into the back of her ship, flying off into space and throwing bombs out the back. As they explode, you both laugh, then, you know, it cuts to landing and you're finding a space and measuring out, you know, paces for hay fork pitching. Shows both of you holding up schematics for hay forks that are non-lethal. Marilla's are extra sharp to discourage, unnecessary internal damage, you know, easy entry and exit. Meanwhile, yours are padded and there's hit detection and making it like fencing. You see montages of the first events, you know, Sully with his face painted and Alistair with his face painted as they're cheering, as people are throwing pitchforks at each other.
Yes.
And then at the end you see someone, on the 3-tiered thing of like first, second, and third place. One of them is bleeding, like, noticeably from a cut on their head, but holding a trophy. And you've started the first ever. What did you name it? Was it a bad name for once, please?
It was a bad acronym. It was just the Intragalactic Hayfork Patient League. Igpol.
Yeah, it's bad. Perfect. Yeah. The first time you've made something poorly in my world. I'm so excited.
No, she's made some poor bombs that have blown up in her face.
No, Cody, to be clear, that wasn't Caitlin coming up with a bad name. That was Jyla coming up with a bad name.
Oh, gotcha. That's true.
I mean, it does matter. I don't think the spot in front of everything is a good name. I think Sully does it. Also, I would like to point out, you said you never went to that level, and you did with Camilla, because it's a normal thing for the Interstellar Council to do, you established.
Mm-hmm.
You did the space thing with Camilla.
Did I?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. It's fine.
He regrets it immediately.
I forget most things that I say. It's a thing about me. Elsewhere, far off in the galaxy, deep in the bowels of the Great Wayfarer, Vika sits mostly alone. She's kind of in charge of the engines, or also is it's not really in charge so much as it is like a specialist position, it's when the engine really breaks badly or there's tech that not a lot of people know about, Vika's always there to kind of support the team, as she's been kind of one of the ones that found a lot of this old technology and has spent a lot of time dealing with it. So aside from the actual original Wayfarers, she's one of the more knowledgeable people about this type of technology at this point. On this ship are most of the United Colony's vessels. They all banded together pretty soon after Chaos fell and decided it was time to return to their homeworld and try to repair the damage that was done. After consuming centuries of learning to colonize basically any world with almost no resources, they're now in the rare position of having a very challenging world and a lot of resources, and finally a kind of a home to reclaim. So it's this odd patchwork of basically people from the past living with people from the super future. Because this is bookends of the civilization, right? Because it was the Great Wayfarers before they left their home, and now the United Colonies, what they've become, all kind of living together on this ship. So, Vika, you are alone, kind of in a smallerish room. There's a workbench, a bed, a couple of chairs. You're covered in grease and just kind of working on, some random part that's failed. It's just on a workbench. What's up?
She is using the growing metal.
Oh,
the
yeah.
living metal that the Wayfarers first introduced her to, and is using that to repair this part that she's working on.
You hear a knock at your door.
Yeah, come in.
The door slides open and you see Marvin standing there. He looks kind of awkward as he shuffles inside and closes the door, just goes, hi, Mom.
Vi, when she saw him, she, stood up really fast, like she was going to go, and give him a hug. But she stops herself and pulls out a rag and starts cleaning off her greasy fingers.
So, not to belabor this, but were you just gonna not tell me that you were on board this ship with... I know it's a big ship, but were you just gonna not tell me that we were on board a ship together and that, you weren't dead, or that we weren't dead, or...
Oh, no. Well, I knew you weren't dead. The Wayfarers and I have been in contact, and I knew you guys were fine.
And you knew we were on this ship?
Yes, I was very aware that you were on this ship.
And so you hid in the basement of the ship.
Well, it's the engine room first, but no, I heard you all are doing some pretty big things now, and the last time we talked, it sounded like I might have been embarrassing to you, so I figured, I'll let you guys do your thing.
He sighs and sits down at like a little, like whatever little workbench that's like the furthest seat from you he can find, and just goes, I want to tell you that I have no idea why you would feel that way, and that I've never done anything that would give you the impression that I'm embarrassed of you, or that I've never been embarrassed of you, but that
you were pretty clear about that.
Understandable. Yes, I will say, I'm not going to say that I'm now kind of a parent and therefore understand that you were right about everything, but maybe I am now a parent and understand that expressing yourself fully to a child is maybe challenging for all involved. So, hi, Mom. I'm Marvin. I'm kind of in charge of a small portion of the United Colonies, and I'm glad you're on this ship, and I am sorry that I made you feel like you weren't super welcome. It was just awkward for all of us when you kind of left the United Colonies very suddenly and then emailed us once a year until I was in really hot water, and then you showed up, bailed me out, and then left again.
I think you must not have been reading all my emails. There were a lot more than once a year.
Okay, yeah, but it's an email. You understand that, right? Like, you're on the ship with me now. You shouldn't just send emails anymore.
I haven't sent an email.
That's worse, though. How is that better? That's what I'm saying. That's weird, right? That's weird.
I was just giving you your space.
Well, yeah, okay. Like, that's cool when I'm, like, I don't know, 18 and I want my space, but now it's like, well, you're literally you're my neighbor and you can't even say hi without me coming down here and being weird about it.
I just wanted you all, like I said, to have you do your thing. There's a lot going on, and I am very happy that you all are safe and doing really well, and I didn't want to interfere with that.
So the United Colonies very nearly died out like a few times in the last couple years, right? Because what we did was we went, oh, you're doing great things over there, and I don't want to get in your way, and it's like, be your own colony, you're on your own. And then the galaxy fell apart, and you were sending emails once a month or whatever, and I was just alone off on a freaking deserted planet, halfway starving to death, and the only thing that kept us from not doing that was we gave up on this idea that we work independently from each other. It didn't work, all right? The United Colonies barely held it together. So what I'm saying is, you don't have to be proud of me from over there. You can be proud of me, like, here, with me, I think.
Vi drops the rag that she's holding, and she goes over and she just hugs him.
He, like, stiffens noticeably. Like, his arms weren't quite in the right position, so he kind of got, like, trapped into it. And then he just kind of pops an arm out and hugs you and just goes, it sucks, because I know that I made you at times feel like I didn't want you to be around, but the reality is that I've missed you since you've been gone, and it's not the same. Getting messages isn't the same, and I kind of have a family of my own now, and I'd actually like you to be around for it, not just feeling like you can't be. And I probably didn't tell you that, ever, actually, in words.
Vi doesn't say anything for a little bit. She just keeps hugging him. And then after a little bit, she pulls back and holds him at like arm's length with her hands on his shoulders. Well, the plan is that I am going to be around for a while now. It sounds like we've all got a lot of work to do to kind of make sure that the colonies and the wayfarers don't die out. So yeah, I'm gonna be here, and I'm so proud of you from here.
Well, so, Lyra told me she wanted me to come down and talk to you because she found out you were on the ship, and then told me that I should come and talk to you, and I told her that you wouldn't want me to, and we kind of went back and forth on that for a while. But anyways, my point is she wants you to come to dinner now, because it's dinner time now, and it looks like you've probably just eaten all your meals here alone in this room. So, Lyra and me would like you to come to dinner. She made you a special dinner. Please don't say no, because please, you don't understand. She gets pretty intense about these things, and she has a daughter, and so she is not thrilled with this idea that I haven't talked to you much. So please come to dinner. Both because I want you to, and also because it would be doing me a huge favor.
I would love to come to dinner with you and your wife and my granddaughter.
And there's one other thing, and please, I know, but
what is it?
Can you like kind of clean up all this and put on clothes?
Okay.
Look, I know, I'm sorry, I know it's bad, but look, it's a formal dinner, it's a whole thing for her. There's like glasses and so many spoons, and look.
Vi pushes him out of the door. Just give me 5 minutes, and slams it.
Your formal clothes and he just kind of goes like, well, it's gonna be bad. And makes his way back up to his family. So, a few years have passed. The Interstellar Council has largely stopped being its own faction and rather become an actual Interstellar Council. So, invitations are offered to everyone. So this includes the Wayfarers that have now settled on Roke, the Imposition, the Guild of Commerce, and the Galactic Alliance all have seats on the Interstellar Council, along with every other, sentient race that feels that they want to discuss some problems within the galaxy. What remains of the Keepers and the Outlaws never fully joined back in with the Interstellar Council. They felt that the potential for political influence meant that was no longer a possibility, and they wanted to remain separate. The name changed, and so did the mission statement, so it went from being Keepers and Outlaws to just becoming the Seekers, with the mission of seeking need, seeking understanding, and seeking harmony. At first, this effort was spearheaded by Sully, who spent much of his time finding people who wanted to do good in the galaxy, but didn't necessarily want to do that sitting in a conference, but rather wanted to kind of be like boots on the ground, delivering aid, finding conflict and trying to stop it before it started, investigating potential resurgence of chaos, and also finding people who were beginning to see into the cognitive realm and training them. I believe that being the aspect of it that Sully spearheaded the most.
Yeah, I think Sully in general was the de facto leader, because at this point the Outlaws didn't have a leader, with Lorelei being dead and Camilla being Interstellar Council again, so he was kind of...
Right.
His favorite part was the training of harmony. He had to do everything else, too.
How many times did he give that, but the tree is the river, but the river is whatever speech?
I think he gave it a lot, but I think it worked a lot better for everyone else because they wanted to learn and weren't just like, Sully, stop talking weird nonsense.
The Seekers, this new organization, this new humanitarian organization, were recognized by the Interstellar Council, so they were no longer wanted criminals and were given a certain degree of license as long as they were not actively working against the Council, and so far, that has worked out okay. The Seekers base themselves in the old council buildings of the Keepers, which, similar name, somewhat similar mission, just a little bit more self-reliance, but at the moment their home is still on Avis.
There was definitely a sign that said Keeper somewhere, like Keeper Temple somewhere, and there is just a spray-painted S over the K.
You did get to add an S to something, one last time.
No.
You really wanted it to just be the Space Keepers or the Skeepers, but Jyla wouldn't allow it.
Jyla or Caitlin?
Both.
Yeah, both in this case, I think. The answer is yes. So what would your, for lack of a better term, office doesn't seem like the thing that Sully would have. What does Sully's room in the Seeker's Temple look like?
I think it originally looked just like a nice meditation room, but then he had a lot of work to do, so it does look like and then there's a desk and a chair that doesn't match, and a lot of paperwork that is just piling up, and multiple data pads that are all full on steroids because he's really bad at keeping up with paperwork.
All right, so it is into this office that there is a knock on the door, and before you answer, Camilla pushes the door open, pokes her head in, and just goes, I'm assuming you have a minute for me?
Did I forget to turn in something again? That sounds like... I swear it's on one of these data pads.
No, it's not paperwork this time, although probably you have, so do that or don't. We're all sleepy.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Camilla. Eventually, Nexus will come in and clean it up and send it to you, and until that point, I have no idea what's gonna happen.
What is Nexus?
I just made up a guy's name.
Oh, okay.
It sounded like a company.
Oh, sorry. He's the new guy. Sorry, I haven't introduced him yet. I didn't think you cared about the new guy. He is very bad at sweeping, so I'm thinking of having him send emails, see if that goes better.
Gotcha. Well, technically, very soon I won't have to care anymore because elections are coming up and I'm going to be out of office. Yay! At least as the de facto council leader of the whole Interstellar Council, which hopefully is a position we're kind of going to get rid of. There's all this political restructuring that I don't honestly... Me and Ivan have gone 10 rounds on this so many times. The point is, we can no longer just declare ourselves leaders of everything. Enough time has gone past, and Avis is smooth enough that, martial law basically no longer is necessary. So, I'm technically retiring. Woo!
That's great. I was going to say that I also was thinking of retiring as much as, you can retire from being part of God.
Yeah, I don't really think that's exactly an option for you or me entirely to retire, but from something. Do you mean from being the leader of the Seekers?
Yes, I think it's kind of self-functioning other than all the paperwork, but that can be someone else's problem, I feel like. I'm not doing it now, so I don't think losing me is really a hit to the paperwork side of this. I think, I'll still be... I've talked with some of the people who are higher up, and they're going to kind of step in, but I think I'm going to go and, start a farm somewhere with Jyla. We still live in the same apartment we got when we first landed, and Jyla keeps telling me that she likes it and it's nice, and then she paces around it for hours at a time. So I'm really worried something's going to be blown up soon.
I will say, now, I enjoy that Avis is kind of a place where we can all come and get together. I do love the fact that she started a really good friendly tournament for all of us to kind of center our lives around. Turns out throwing spears at each other, wildly popular, and I can understand giving her a little bit more room to throw spears.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I wouldn't want to throw spears in a tiny apartment. Granted, I don't want to throw spears at all because I'm not good at it, and these arms, she gestures with her caterpillary arms, not great for spear throwing, but great for watching. Love to spectate.
All around it's nerve-wracking for me because even if I don't participate, the person I love most is having sharp objects chucked at her, so,
honestly, for me, I'm not so much nervous. Ivana's great at it, so I just get to watch her on occasion, and she does fantastic. It's actually a little bit disturbing to watch at times. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm scared for her. I'm scared for the other person. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I understand that, because first I'm scared for Jyla, and then when she gets hit good, and especially if it hurts, I'm really scared for the other person then, you know?
Well, and you have some healing abilities. I feel like, match made in heaven. Why would you want her to stop getting hurt? Because then you'd be useless to her, I'm sure. That was a little caterpillar joke, sorry. Our humor is rather harsh on my world back home.
So are you and Ivana going to stay here then, or?
I have no idea. No idea what I'm doing next. We'll see. I technically haven't been voted out of office, so I'm still, in charge of everything until I do. And when I do, we'll find out. Who knows?
What happens when you and Ivana get reelected in?
There's bridges that we cross when we get to them. I don't make plans anymore. I used to. And then
you joined the Outlaws?
I was arrested, and then I was an outlaw, and then I was like the leader of the Outlaws, and then I stormed a planet, and then I got the magic eye, and then I've been the leader of that planet, and now I'm not anymore. So who knows? None of that was on my 5-year plan, so whatever.
Yeah, I will say on my life bingo card, I did not have Become God as a space.
Yeah, me either. It's a weird one. It's for sure a weird one. But I will say, I'm curious. So you want to start a farm? Is there a reason farming? Like just living your best Bo Peep, or?
I just want to break from all this world saving stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like a lot of other people had grandeur, and like I never really left here because I didn't want to be here. I just didn't think we were doing it right. Where I feel like Jyla had problems with the Guild of Commerce, where she didn't like anything they were doing and thought they could space it all, and a lot of other crude things I will not say in mixed company.
Camilla looks around the room looking for the mixed company, realizes it's her, and is just like, yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
Sorry, Camilla, I meant more, I'm uncomfortable with repeating what she said.
No, I got it. I got that.
But like, for me, it was just like, I was always kind of sad I left. It wasn't just I left, and now it's like I'm back, and I don't know, just going out to like a little rural area and working with my hands, giving Jyla space to throw more spears, and maybe being a small town doctor again just sounds kind of nice.
No, I get that. I get wanting to make a difference. You get stuck in a role like this, right? Where we're just like administrators and we stop actually doing the stuff that helps people immediately. And you lose that a little bit, right? Like if anything, what I want to set it up to do is make me obsolete so I can continue helping people actually. Because at some point, just shuffling the papers around, there has to be someone who's more motivated to do that than me at this point. Because I am tired. And I'm sure there's someone who really has huge ideas and they want to get them across. I can make space for them, Like, I'm fertilizer for someone else, I'm totally fine with that.
I feel like I accomplished my mission as God with killing chaos, at least for the time being, and then raising up the next generation of chaos killers. And, I just want to rest for a little bit.
I can understand that. So do I.
We can sip Mai Tais on a beach. We can get a nice big leaf for you.
Exactly. If you leave a leaf out in the sun for a month, maybe 2, and then you eat that leaf, technically alcoholic. Just saying. Old leaves. They're a wild ride.
I'll take your... what's the word? I just blanked on how you...
Take your word for it.
Yes, I completely forgot how that saying went. I will take your word for it, Camilla. I'm not really a leaf kind of guy. I mean, other than like salads, which are just glorified leaves, but I mean, our dietary restrictions are a little bit different.
That's true. Well, I wish you luck on your farm. And Camilla, she probably was never sitting, because I doubt you had giant caterpillar-shaped chairs.
I think I might actually, because I feel like Camilla's like...
That's true.
Outside of like the obvious, like the person I'm in a relationship with, this is my best friend. I think Camilla's probably Sully's best friend.
She scurries down off of the purpose-built chair for her and shuffles out the door, pops her head back in, and just goes, I do think we both need the vacation. I think we've earned it.
Don't be a stranger, Camilla.
Oh, I won't. I mean, I'm sure I can still get flights for cheap, I hope. She, closes the door and leaves. After a few years, Roke has settled, kind of. It's an ongoing conflict with the planet. It likes to become unstable at times. Fortunately, the United Colonies are very good at their work. They've had a long history of doing this kind of thing, so trying to keep a planet running is not all that difficult for them necessarily. It just means that they're all kind of working together at once. Meanwhile, a lot of other wayfarers / United colonists, whatever name they decide to call themselves, are exploring this very large system around Roke that has largely been unexplored up to this point. Finding new planets, maybe occasionally finding new life, and finding resources that they can use to try to get their planet kind of working and happy back together. And that is where Vika has been staying for the time being, just trying to work on keeping machinery running, keeping the place running, while her kids try to jockey politically to keep all of the United Colonies working together. Yeah, so I think I'll leave it at Vika is again in her workshop, kind of alone. She sees her kids more frequently, but still, largely is living alone, and just is kind of working on a piece of equipment as Mal walks in.
Hello, Vi.
Mal, what are you doing here?
Oh, I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd stop by.
In the neighborhood? All the way out here on Roke?
Yes.
Okay,
I
don't believe you.
Fine. I came to see you. I wanted to see how you were doing.
Doing pretty good. I don't know how much you've seen, but the planet's doing a lot better. And everyone here is slowly trying to make all this work again.
That's good to hear. I'm glad you guys are making progress.
Yeah, it feels like we finally got everyone up on their feet again. Oh my gosh, what have you been doing?
Oh, I've mostly just been kind of touring the galaxy, just kind of going from faction to faction, just kind of checking in on people and smoothing over some of the old disagreements and trying to help wherever I can. Kind of made I had an interesting visit with the Galactic Alliance. I went in there to give them a bit of a piece of my mind, just to kind of be like, hey, maybe this is how you should act moving forward, and instead they tried to make me their mascot, which is not what I'm about.
No, that doesn't seem quite like you.
Yeah, and as soon as I declined the offer, the new president basically wanted nothing to do with me, so I guess that's fine.
It kind of feels like you've been trying to cut yourself off from the Galactic Alliance for a long time anyway.
Right, and I think she even offered me, like, any choice of ship in the fleet, including the biggest flagship, whatever, which, to be honest, at one point in my life, I would have gone for, but not now. I'm past that.
So, what ship do you have now, then? How did you get here?
Oh, I'm still flying the Honor.
Wait, the Honor's here? And Vi runs out the workshop.
You never forget your first love.
Never forget it.
I was going to go into this thing with with Jyla and Sully settled on Avis, and with Lucy as ambassador, no, there's no one to use the Honor, so he's using it. But no, she's already gone.
I think when you find her, she is just like, she's like running her hand over the ship. I am impressed to see this old gal is still running as well as she is, considering all the crap we put her through.
And considering the fact that it's just been me for a while, I don't have quite the skills to fix problems when they come up. I've definitely had a few interesting experiences in traveling around.
Well, she still looks pretty good. I hope it was just you working on her and you didn't hire anyone to, because this ship only deserves us at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I sought advice on occasion, but no, I would never let anyone else touch this engine.
I am so glad to hear that. And she lets out like a long sigh and like pats the ship. Oh gosh, I miss it. I really do.
Yeah, those were some times.
Where are you going next? Do you know? Do you have a heading?
Not particularly. This was the last stop on my list because it was so far away, and figured I'd head back to the Galactic Center and just keep doing what I was doing, but nowhere particular in mind.
You're just gonna park her?
Oh no, absolutely not. She'll stay flying for as long as I can keep her flying.
No, and she kind of like looks back towards her workshop, and then back at the ship. Okay, hear me out. I gotta get off Roke. I love it here, but I need a break. I need to fly. I have been touching ground for too long, and I am going crazy. So,
would you like to come with me, Vi?
Yes, please. Oh, I miss it so much. And she's like hugging the honor again. We don't have to go anywhere crazy. And we can especially skip anything Galactic Alliance. It sounds like that's off the table anyway, but let's just go somewhere.
Sounds good to me.
Vi starts like bouncing on her toes. Okay, I just gotta say some goodbyes. I'll be right back. Just give me like half an hour. And she runs off to go find her kids.
Do you want to do that scene?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a very short, just like, I'm not leaving. I'm
not leaving, but I'm leaving.
I'm not leaving for good. You're not just gonna get emails. I'm taking a little trip.
Taking a vacation. It might be many years, but I'm taking a vacation.
So
we'll see.
It's hard to find a corner of Avis that is not inhabited, but fortunately there are still occasionally areas that were left to wildlife where you can find yourself lost but still on the kind of center of the galaxy in a way. That's where Sully and Jyla decided to set up a small farm. Mostly it is there to grow, like fruit-bearing trees, so whatever kind of warm tropical plants there are, you have a small orchard of those growing food. But it has also become a place where penguins can find healing. So there was a lot of devastation done to the penguin population. You saw that firsthand when you found the Watcher's factory. So Sully, in your retirement, you've been able to start helping the population regrow and kind of not necessarily keep them in captivity, but just, when you find ones that are hurt, fix them up, try to provide food on occasion, a little bit of husbandry here and there, and you're able to start the slow healing of the devastation of the natural environment that was caused by chaos.
Not do the whole city planet thing just from chaos.
Yeah. Well, I mean, originally the Interstellar Council was supposed to be a fairly green city place, so there was a lot of organic life mixed in with the urban center, but that all was burnt by chaos as it just chewed the planet up instead of being all sustainable. The house that you built is small and quaint, but there's a lot of, outdoor space available. and the two of you are sitting in the kitchen as a timer goes off, and, Sully, you start pulling a cake out of the oven. There's decorations laid at hand. Now roll for the quality of this cake.
Oh, gosh, I don't know.
That's a joke. That's a joke.
So I don't know why when you said they're in the kitchen, what popped in my head was Sully's in the kitchen with Jyla. Sully's in the kitchen.
Because that's perfect.
I know, right? I was like, I can't not share this.
So, as Sully hops up to get the cake, Jyla leans over to a bowl of icing, because now he's not watching it, and swipes her finger in it and licks it. Sully!
Did you just have the icing?
Yes, and it's amazing!
I mean,
the bourbon flavor is...
Lucy walked me through most of it, if we're being completely honest.
Well, it's good. Is this your homemade stuff? No, the homemade bourbon.
Oh, yes. Do we have other bourbon here? Jyla, have you been cheating on me?
No,
Have you been sneaking other bourbon?
No, I'm saying be sure to not use it all up for frosting and save some for me, because it's really good.
He looks back and there's aging barrels outside, large barrels. I think we will be fine, Jyla.
Well, it's delightful, and Ivana is going to love this birthday cake.
I hope so. It's better than the cake we had to make for Camilla's birthday. That was interesting.
Well, I thought the lavender rosemary frosting was a good touch.
I mean, yes, but the rest of the cake was also leaves.
The rest of the cake was a little green tasting. Yeah, but the frosting was good.
But I think Camilla liked it, right?
That's what matters. And Sully.
Yes.
Do you remember when we were floating in space together?
I mean, how could I forget? It was one of our first intimate moments together.
Yeah, I was just thinking about how you said that suns were like bombs.
No, please don't remind me.
Well, yeah, but I think my favorite part was the part where you said we weren't lost in the void of space because the void was empty, and it could be empty if we had each other. I think that's my favorite bit.
I think my favorite bit was I got to spend time with you.
Well, I'm glad we can keep flying through space together. And she gets up and gives him a kiss.
Me too. Now, hands off the frosting. I need enough to cover this cake.
Oh, don't.
He slaps her hand as she goes for it again.
She boops him on the nose with frosting.
Many years have passed. At this point now, Harmony Day has become a established holiday on Avis. It is celebrated much like our Thanksgiving. There is always a meal, and it's meant to be a day of kind of calm contemplation. So it's usually meant to be a restful meal with the people that you care about the most. This year, it marks 5 years since Chaos was defeated by the Crew of the Honor. There's a large celebration on Avis, which was kind of out of tone for what the day usually was. Camilla finds herself on Avis again. She went back to her home planet for a while, but now has been elected as their representative.
So she didn't win the election.
The Avis election.
She was never running to be...
Yeah, but she could still be written in.
No, she did not win.
I was hoping she got written in enough that she won.
No, she retired for a while, for like 5 years. Camilla, now back on Avis, has been elected as the representative from her planet, so she's just representing the giant caterpillars who have no name other than the giant caterpillars. The celebration did honor her a little bit as she was there and was kind of the person, in charge when there was this great unrest, and then was pivotal in putting the world back together. Invites were sent to the Crew of the Honor, but as was typical, many of them did not reply and did not show up. She is walking back to her office in, the council chambers. accompanied by Sully. You know, Sully, I do appreciate you being here. Not that it's necessarily a huge thing or that I think I'm, like, owed some debt by your old crew, but it would have been nice to see a few of you, you know, maybe one or two.
I mean, I count as one, and...
Oh, I'm sorry, maybe two. Mostly I'm talking about Jyla. Like, you live together, right? Are you guys, like, on the outs? Do you need to talk?
We're decidedly not, but you saw how there were fireworks? And the penguins at the ranch don't like loud noises, so Jyla tries not to do too much bomb work there. And then she started cutting off, like, syllables from the word exploding, so at that point I knew not to step in and just let her go do her thing.
Oh, no, God, that's okay. Instead of seeing me, she went and played with bombs in the sky. Yeah, no, makes sense. I get it. No, it's fine.
To be fair, she also did that instead of seeing me as well.
I uprooted my entire life, you know, to help you guys out, but that's fine. No, it's fine. Yeah, it's a big deal. It's a little bit of a big deal. That's all I'm saying. It's just a little bit of a big deal.
You did have a weirdly large statue of you unveiled.
I did not make that statue, alright? I just represent the caterpillar people, and my constituents wanted the statue made because they feel it honors our entire species, not just me. Because, you know, it's like, that's a permanent thing. I'm temporary. It's a big deal. You know, we were pivotal in the making of the new Interstellar Council. So I feel like that's a pretty big deal.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that, you know, you did have some honors today.
Anyways, well, thank you for walking me back to my office. It's a little bit weird, but whatever. And she, pushes the door open to see all of you, like, you know, in her office. There's party stuff up all over the place. Lucy is also there along with Ivana, and I think that's probably it. It's all the reasonable NPCs I could drag into this.
A big buff penguin's in the corner.
A big buff penguin's in the corner, and Norn is there for some reason because he hasn't gotten a lot of FaceTime, and I love him. He's looking grouchy and tired.
What about Merle and Alistair?
No, I don't think
How big is her office?
Huh? Tiny. Tiny. You're packed in there like sardines.
I think Marilla would be friends with Ivana, but not probably Camilla. The Hayforge pickin' gets people really into it, you know?
Right. As soon as she sees the crowd, she turns around and looks at Sully and goes, "Do not tell Jyla that I said a bunch of unfortunate things about her on our way over here." Thank you all for being here. Oh my gosh, I'm so surprised. Oh, you guys didn't show up for the real celebration because you're here. Oh, it's so nice.
Did we do it, Sully? Did we surprise her?
Judging by the things that she said, you surprised her greatly.
Well, that's all we could hope for, I guess.
I am surprised, and it's nice to see all of you actually in the same room again. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has been quite a while. It's good to see you.
Yeah, I thought you were dead. Like, you and Vika just disappeared.
No, we just had stuff to do.
Yeah, we've just been doing some traveling.
Well, do tell. I'm curious.
I mean, have you heard from Roke lately? They're doing quite well.
They are?
Vika sends an email once a month.
I do. Clearly you don't check your emails.
No, I don't. I'm bad about that. I prefer in-person communication. But yes, I mean, I'm glad to see that Roke is actually showing up for council meetings now. They are chaotic at times. Not like that kind of chaotic, like
no,
with the capital C.
I fully understand what you mean. They are a rowdy bunch.
Yeah, they wanted to mount the hayfork pitching contest to rocket ships and see how fast they could go while throwing hayforks at each other.
Vika, you didn't tell me about that.
I have not been a part of the hayfork pitching team.
Oh, you're missing out.
I would never, ever in a million years tell you about how to make hayfork pitching more dangerous, Jyla.
It seems like you have a lot more armor that way. You've got shields, like, you know, electronic shields.
At some point, it feels like it's not hayfork pitching anymore, though.
It's about the spirit of the thing, you know?
Maybe just create, I don't know, the Rocket League?
There are purists that do not believe it should count. I rather like watching very fast ships trying to smash into each other, so I'm fine with it. And the Wayfarers happen to be very good at making fast ships, so I'm cool with it. Also, the more spectator sports, the better.
No, but after Roke, Mal and I have just been, you know, taking a break. Feels like we finally earned it.
Actually, here, I can show you.
And Vi pulls out a device and starts showing Camilla pictures of her and Mal at different locations on planets. There's pictures of them with Marvin and Lyra's new baby boy. And there's also one of them at Nika's wedding.
I think we all did. I took a break for a while, and then I got elected.
Funny how that happens.
That's why you stay settled, or that's why you say settled on Avis, because no one can elect you here easily.
That's true. Although, if you wanted to be elected, do you guys know he is the predominant penguin herder on Avis now? That's what he did with his retirement.
I also make bourbon. Thank you very much.
It's really good. I brought some.
Home brewing and penguins.
I might have to try some of that.
Jalen passes out flasks.
You have just
I like how you didn't bring cups, you just bring
flasks, multiple flasks.
I was thinking the same thing.
That is like the most Jyla thing you've said, other than
She's got a lot of pockets in her cargo pants.
Norn is like grumpy and just guzzling it, you know? He's still there for some reason. So, Lucy is excited to see all of you again as well. It has been a while for him. He, runs up to Vika and gives her a giant hug. Vika, it has been far too long. You have been gone. You left for another planet that was far away, and then you were on a trip with Malcolm, and I have not seen you in ages.
It's amazing how fast time goes. Have you been getting my emails? I've been trying to keep up.
Yes, I used to get them in my brain, but now I read them on a screen. It is novel. I do enjoy it.
That's right. I keep forgetting that certain things that are mundane are not so mundane to you.
No, it's crazy. Eating with my hands. Insane. Anyways, tell me about your trip, and then I want to hear about those penguins, Sully.
Well, at this point, how many planets have we hit up now, Mal?
Oh, I lost track after probably 20 or 30? I don't know. I don't even know anymore.
Oh, I counted to 32. At some point, the travel bug just kind of bit us, and it's been so nice to not be having a real job for a little bit. Speaking of which, how has your real job been going?
Well, funny you mention it. Great. Turns out cooking and diplomacy go hand in hand. I have a great time going and preparing fantastic meals, sometimes that are well received. I learn a lot about other people's culture, while also trying to encourage them to understand that the imposition is less imposing than we used to be. Kind of.
Well, I would love to try one of your fancy dinners if you're up for making us one at some point.
Well, enjoy Camilla's spread here.
Oh, this was all you.
This was all me. I've learned to cook things besides flatbreads and burnt food. It's getting better, but it never is done. I enjoy it greatly. Now, I will say, if all of you are bored and looking for work, I could pay to be shuffled around for a while if you want to see some more civilized planets.
Are you saying we can go on a little trip with you, Lucy?
What I'm saying is, if any of you are bored, I could hire you as chauffeurs/bodyguards. But now tell me about the penguins. Can you get away for a minute,
I think we could probably leave the... do we ever name the loyalty penguin?
I don't think so.
I think you named him, loyalty or something. Also, you know that penguin only exists in the cognitive realm, right?
There was at least some kind of manifestation of him in the real world, I thought.
Nope. Sure wasn't. Nope. Never existed. It's a cognitive penguin.
I thought he was in the real world because he slid through the cognitive portal or the chaos portal. I
thought so too. That's what I thought I remembered about the penguin.
We just kept seeing him with our golden
I think
eye.
I might have said that. No, he was in the cognitive realm at that point, attacking chaos.
Okay.
Well, see, I thought back when right before we went to Chaos's realm, I thought the penguin was there in the real world before we got pulled into Chaos's domain.
No, what it was is you guys dumped Marilla and... No, you dumped Camilla and Ivana into the cognitive realm for a month to force them to work out their differences, and their only company was I think a woman with no face and
no eyes.
No eyes and a gigantic penguin. And then they had to work on their problems.
And then they got together, so I think it was successful. I'm just saying.
I never said that officially. You're inferring.
I mean, I ship them.
If your marriage is doing poorly, find a woman blindfolded who will force you to sit together next to a very scary giant penguin for a month while you work out your problems. It'll fix everything.
Anyway, how is the Penguin Ranch?
It's going well. I think we could probably afford to get away for a little bit. I think we could find someone to check in on them, but...
Yes, definitely. We definitely can. We will make it work.
Well, Jyla, not to disappoint you, but I promise it won't be dangerous. Generally I am well received, so probably you will not need to explode anything.
I promise I won't explode any of your people that you're trying to wine and dine.
Now listen, though. There is time between point A and point B where there's lots of space rocks and lots of stuff. And, you know, the ship's probably going to be armed. And if you happen to blow up a bunch of rocks on the way...
Now you're speaking my language, Lucy.
I'm sure no one would complain. You know, sound doesn't travel through space. You're not gonna wake us up.
Vi nudges Mal. So what do you think? Should we take a break from our extended vacation and take on a little job? Get the whole crew back together?
So tell me, Lucy, will I have to deal with any Galactic Alliance people? Like, will they be around?
We can skip those stops. I can send them an email.
Cody, say yes. Say yes.
Oh, definitely. That's mostly where I'm going.
Good. Then I can just kind of like taunt them by being there and just showing them how awesome I am.
That is a good call. I will say my relationship with the Galactic Alliance is not hostile, but awkward. So, I'm always there to kind of poke them just a little bit.
I think that's what I'm looking for right now. Just kind of be there and just remind them of what could have been.
I like this plan. Let's go be a little bit of a nuisance.
Let's make trouble.
Hey Wanderers, I hope you enjoyed the last episode of Outlaws Wanted. I'm sad to see the crew of the Honor go, but I'm also extremely pleased with how this story wrapped up. This game was over 3 years in the making and is by far the longest game I have ever run. And I'm immensely satisfied to finally see all of it come together. It's bittersweet to say goodbye to some of my favorite PCs and NPCs. Outlaws Wanted is also the largest work of fiction I've ever made, and I'm going to miss all of its power armor, mad scientists, angry caterpillars, tropes, ripped penguins, family drama, and personal ruminations on the nature of peace. Thanks to all of you for listening, and I hope you enjoy our next games, Wanderlust and Corsairs of Castile. Now remember, it's not the outlaw that makes trouble, it's the trouble that makes the outlaw.